president says he wants to send these forces to other cities like Chicago, cities where the federal property isn't necessarily under attack. What are they going to do when they get to Chicago and these other cities with higher crime rates, higher shooting rates, higher murder rates? If the president's worried about that, what are they going to do? What are they going to arrest people with?
I think you're getting ahead of the president here. He's made no announcements as to who's going where. He's very discouraged by the violence that he's seen in Chicago. It's why he sent a very strong letter to Mayor Lightfoot offering help, because she's clearly unable to control her streets, and the governor as well, unable to control that area. When you see the fact that there were 49 officers who were injured in this egregious video of them being lambasted with rioters with umbrellas shielding from view that they were throwing projectiles, and 49 officers injured. Not only that, the poor citizenry of Chicago, where 12 were murdered this weekend, 70 shot alone. It's incredible what we're seeing in Chicago. He's offered his help, and we encourage the mayor to take it and to be forthright about the situation in her state, much like the governor of Missouri was in working with us on Operation Legend to protect the people of Missouri.
But the leaders of these cities don't necessarily want unmarked police officers patrolling their streets the way we've seen in Portland, with the premise that they're protecting federal property there. The leaders in these cities don't want this sort of paramilitary police force.
They're offered the assistance of DOJ, as was done, where you've had FBI surge in the case of Operation Legend. So when you have each weekend more than a dozen people getting shot in your city, perhaps it's time, more than a dozen killed, I should say, and children, perhaps it's time to say, I need the help of the federal government, because what I'm doing is simply not working when more people are dying on the streets of Chicago than Afghanistan and Iraq. It's a tragedy.
What if they don't say that?
Yes, Stephen.
Thank you. Well, I have a question about New York on a similar topic. Yesterday, President Trump mentioned the spike in violent crime in New York and said, quote, if the governor is not going to do something about it, we'll do something about it. And I'm curious if you could explain why he's saying that the governor should do something about it rather than the mayor, and if you could also elaborate on what President Trump would be willing to do.
Well, he thinks the mayor and the governor should work together to take control of the streets of New York City, where in some places we've seen 600% surge in violence over last year. So he thinks they should work together. It's ultimately the power of the mayor to enforce, and the governor to enforce the police power of their states. That power rests with them, but they can partner with the federal government in the event that they're unable to control the violence in their cities. And that's certainly what we've seen from Mayor de Blasio, who seems to have not a hard time criticizing police officers, but an awfully hard time controlling the streets of New York City.